Well, hey there, listeners. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Kath Langman, and today we're going to dive into a story that perfectly illustrates what it takes to scale a premium brand in today's e-commerce landscape. Now, if you've been paying attention to the wellness and cafe scene lately, you've probably noticed matcha is having a serious moment. It's everywhere, from your local cafe's menu to your Instagram feed to even McCafes. And whilst that wave of popularity certainly creates incredible opportunity, it also brings some really unique challenges. Today's guest on the show is Erin Lindwall, and she's the founder of Matcha Yu Tea, a premium Australian matcha brand that's doing something remarkable. Despite facing this global matcha shortage, increased competition, and all of the complexities of sourcing an authentic product steeped in Japanese tradition, Erin has nearly doubled her online sales and also built a thriving wholesale division. But here's what makes this story particularly interesting. Erin isn't trying to be the cheapest matcha on the market. She's not competing for supermarket shelf space. Instead, she's built a brand around authenticity, quality, and a deep connection to the Japanese culture, sourced directly from family tea farms in Japan, packaged in compostable materials, and sold to customers who really value the story and experience as much as they enjoy the product itself. This is a masterclass in understanding your customers' buying psychology and marketing accordingly. Because when you are selling a premium product, you can't market like a mass market brand. You need different strategies, different messaging, and a completely different approach to growth. In today's episode, we're going to explore how Erin built those supplier relationships in Japan, how she's navigated a global matcha shortage whilst busy scaling her business, what digital marketing strategies have actually moved the needle in her business, and how she's positioned Matcha Yu to stand out in an increasingly crowded market. So, without further ado, let's welcome Erin to the show. That's a beautiful shade of green there of your matcha tea. And of course, welcome
Yay.
to Erin. Erin Lindwall, founder of Matcha Yu Tea in Melbourne. Super keen to have this conversation. Obviously, we've been working together for a while now, and so much has been happening. So before we dive into it, let's get you to sort of share your intro spiel about your elevator pitch.
I've been importing matcha green tea into Australia since 2017, so well before the matcha boom that we've seen in the last, say, 12 months. And my love affair with Japan is quite a long one. So I started studying Japanese at high school. I even did a school project on Japan back in year 5, so it was even into primary school. And then, I just became obsessed with the culture and went on holidays and then wanted to live there. And once I lived there, the seed of matcha was planted, so to speak. So yeah, there's a bit of a story. I like to try and narrow it down a bit because it's quite lengthy. But yeah, basically, I was an English teacher in Kyoto back in 2010, and a lady came in and was learning English to help the family business with export. She came from an Emperor Award-winning tea farm in Uji,
Wow.
which is not far from Kyoto, and her father was seventh generation tea farmer, and her brother is now eighth generation. He's taken the tea farm on, and yeah, very prestigious family in that city. And I was very impressed with her story and felt compelled to do something with it once I returned to Australia after my time living in Japan. So yeah, that was really the essence of how Matcha UT started.
So was she your introduction to first tasting matcha, or
Ah,
had you already had a bit of that already?
I was very interested in desserts. The matcha desserts were my favorite. So I
Yum.
always had a stash of matcha ice cream in the freezer of like the guest house that I was living in.
Yes.
My flatmate, he was French. He was like a Michelin star chef. And
Oh, wow.
I won't try and imitate the accent, but he used to say, Erin, you are a matcha addict. And I said, yeah, I know.
Oh, that's
Because I
brilliant.
always made sure I had that ice cream stash. And then I just enjoyed going to have the matcha parfaits at the Kyoto cafes that often serve these in sundae glasses, tower of parfait with all these layers of different
Wow.
things. You could get like cream, mochi ice cream, jelly, all that kind of stuff, cornflakes even into a parfait. And you'd have a cup of hot tea with it. And I love that concept. So that was the beginning of my experience tasting matcha. But
Mm.
then when she came into my lesson, she prepared matcha the traditional way with the bamboo whisk and the bowl. So that was probably one of the first times I'd tried it as a traditional drink. Yeah.
And it is quite a ritual, isn't it? A cultural ritual that they have.
Yeah. It's been part of like a tea ceremony from, oh gosh, 15th, 16th century. You're testing me, but yeah, maybe, 500 years it was developed into a tea ceremony. And prior to that, the seeds that came from China came with Buddhist monks, Japanese Buddhist monks that had gone to China to study, and then they brought them back and planted them in a couple of locations, including Kyoto. And that was, yeah, a long, long time ago. And the matcha at that point was quite a tea for the noble and for the royalty, the equivalent of royalty over there, the shoguns, and they were the ones that had access to the really high quality matcha. So it wasn't really a tea for the people, but that then the tea ceremony culture was introduced, and more people became aware of it, and taught and practiced tea ceremony, particularly women. Yeah.
Hmm. And so obviously you enjoyed your time over there and especially the matcha because you came back to Australia and have started this business. But what was that kind of aha moment when you returned to Australia where you really decided there was an opportunity for a business?
Yeah, I think I returned very eager to start something similar to a desserts cafe, so a Japanese desserts cafe or tea house, because I had enjoyed that experience so much in Kyoto, going there with my friends and enjoying parfait and tea. But there was nothing really like that here. And this was 2011 when I came back. So I actually did have some mentoring around that with the local, like Small Business Victoria, about developing. I've still probably got notes somewhere, brainstorming a cafe concept
Mhm.
for Melbourne CBD because I didn't think it would have legs anywhere else, uh, and particularly probably around the Chinatown area. So that was the first idea, but then I got a bit gun shy on that because of the level of investment, and I just felt the market was a bit too new for it. You really only got matcha in Asian supermarkets that they'd import in, and God knows how long it'd be sitting on the shelf. And then you would have Starbucks, and that was like really heavy, sugary drinks, which I don't know if much has changed there, but anyway, that was kind of your offering for matcha to really, keep it basic. And then I kind of shelved that idea. I went back to my old kind of life in the music industry. I've been working in that for a long time, back to Sony, and then kind of let that go. And then I think it was around 2015, 2016, I could see interest in matcha picking up. There were a couple of brands, doing quite well in the health and wellness area and promoting it like that. But I was always a bit sus on still the quality that was out there. And I just thought, hang on a minute. I've got this contact in Japan, this beautiful woman that I taught, who I was friends with. She actually came out to Australia, uh, I'm thinking around 2014, and we were in my apartment, and I invited friends around. And my friend, her name's Mickey, she performed a tea ceremony, and everyone tried it.
Yeah,
So that was really cool that we did that. Like she came out for business, and we did that little session with her.
yeah.
And anyway, after that, yeah, I thought, well, I've got, like her as a contact and amazing tea. So how about I try bring her tea in and sell it online? And I was still a little bit unsure of how it was going to work because it was a very expensive matcha, and I thought, oh, how's that going to sit in Australia when it's still quite new? And yeah, people are going to pay that really. So what I did is I decided to do a crowdfunding campaign through Possible,
Mhm.
and I guess that was my decision. So if it was successful, I would start the business. If it
Yeah.
wasn't, I would probably leave it and let it go. So luckily, it was successful.
Luckily it was, yeah. It's a
Yeah.
great way to get proof of concept, isn't it?
It really is, yeah, and being beyond family and friends. And
Yeah.
I wasn't raising a lot of money. It was just probably getting my mindset across the line of, yeah, I can do this and I've got some small funds to access to set up some, the website and register the business and that kind of thing and bring in and run pre-orders and bring in the first shipment of tea. Yeah.
Mm. So, I mean, obviously that's a great way to kind of, like you say, get your mindset across the line. But did you find it was quite a transition just from, going from the passionate consumer and the lover of the culture and the tea to actually becoming a businesswoman?
Yeah, definitely. But it hasn't been too far of a jump because I guess I am like many other business owners, I'm my core demographic, I think. I mean, there are people outside of that, of course, but I do really see my customers resonate with, having been to Japan, a very strong sense of that love of that culture and trying to find matcha that they are happy with, like that they're drunk in Japan. And that was kind of, yeah, for me too, something that will give a connection to the culture always. And it's a high quality and, yeah, and also all the health benefits that I reap. I just wanted to share that with other people. So, yeah, it didn't seem like too far removed to monetize it, I guess you would say. It's always been like a passion, and I feel like I'm never working, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just been a joy to be able to do something I love every day. Yeah.
How good is that? So obviously to kick it off with your supply chain, you had that established relationship already. Um, matcha, there's such a spectrum of quality, and it doesn't all come from Japan. It doesn't all come from those sorts of high-end producers that you source from. For you, why was it really important to approach that sourcing the way that you have?
Yeah, so the first, yeah, obviously the lady Nikki and her family were the first family I sourced from. So from day one, it always became about connection to the people, and I made sure that I went there and met like her father and met the tea farmers, the people who were picking the tea, and spent time and understanding, having an appreciation of their life as a tea farmer or tea business. And I've always wanted to have that kind of sourcing mentality. However, the way the current suppliers I have came about is they actually approach me. So one I've been working with for about 5 years, and the other for about three. And back before the boom, they were obviously looking for new business opportunities. So they look at businesses outside of Japan that are established, and there could be a possibility for you to switch suppliers and use them. So yeah, that was how it first came about. But very soon after, definitely the supplier I've had for 5 years in Kyushu, I've visited them twice now, and formed relationships with quite a few of them in the export team, and met like farmers, been to tea farms, and just made sure as much as possible that I am always understanding, yeah, their point of view. And I think that helps me even right now in this current situation of the shortage. Just coming back from there in May when everything was kind of going down, I could see their concern and worry and stress, and it becomes more than, you're just trying to source a product. You're actually trying to make sure that the livelihood of these people is sustainable, and that
Mm.
you care about it. It's not like I'm just trying to make money and I don't care about the people that are producing the product. Like, it's so far removed from that. Like, I actually really have concern, and I also try and, even though a lot of the dialogues on email or WhatsApp or a bit, I always try and express my gratitude and appreciation, because I know I could imagine they're getting hammered from all directions, and a lot of people are probably just not, they're thinking about themselves, to be honest, like to run their business. And
Yeah.
it doesn't, a little bit of gratitude, appreciation goes a long way, I think, for the relationship. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just definitely always think, forming connections, even if you don't meet them straight away, make a plan to go and visit if you can. And speaking Japanese definitely helps too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to touch on that, the matcha boom, in just a tick, but
Yeah.
would you uh, estimate that a number of your competitors might have reduced the quality, perhaps, of what they're sourcing because, things have taken off and I guess there's limited supply. It would be a finite amount of supply that the farmers can produce.
Most definitely. Yeah, I think yeah, other, not shortcutting, but maybe compromising a bit on quality to bring in, matcha that may be the same pricing as last year. But that's, for me, that's just not possible. I have to accept and work with the new pricing. All the prices have gone up, particularly on the first harvest matcha. So the matcha that comes out of the harvest in May, which is called ichibancha in Japanese. Ichi means one. So that is what everyone wants, because it's all the high grade matcha. It's definitely the youngest, freshest leaves, and yeah, it just produces the best yield. So that's where I guess people maybe compromising and looking at, say, second and third harvests, which are typically reserved for culinary or cooking grade matcha. But with the new price increases, maybe people are looking more at that as an option. The tricky thing is, I think we've been a bit spoilt, say, in the last year, because I definitely think the bar has lifted on what the quality is like out in cafes for the most part. Like, there's still some that are not great, but it's almost like people, and also at home, like home cafe, people making their own. I think people are starting to use the really good matcha, so like stuff from the first harvest, really bright, vibrant green, in their matcha lattes, which is so fine. But the intended use for that kind of matcha is probably just with water as it's drunk in like a tea ceremony, and really like savoring all those flavors in there. But now that everyone's got a taste of the good stuff, that's where there's a shortage, because people don't want the cooking or culinary grade or latte grade matcha. They want the good high end stuff for the everyday, like, yeah, matcha that was probably only drunk a couple of times a week, in Japanese culture as a special ceremony. Now it's like a daily demand by the world. We want this good
Mm.
matcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think's driving this surge in popularity?
Oh, like a couple of things. It's like everything's aligned. I think matcha is
Mm.
very like Insta, TikTok worthy, very bright green, visually appealing, very like it pops online, and it's very versatile. People can use it in so many different ways. Like, it's just a way that people who are interested in cooking and food, they can express their creativity through making different types of matcha drinks and recipes. And yeah, like strawberry matcha is one example. It's like it went crazy on TikTok last year, and look, here we are. We have McDonald's introducing matcha. They did a limited drop of it a few, maybe 6 months back, to a few of their stores around the country, and now they're introducing three varieties of matcha, including a strawberry matcha, in every McCafe nationally.
Oh
So,
my
I
God.
mean, if that doesn't say something,
Yeah.
so they understand. Yeah, strawberry matcha is having a moment. Just again, very visually appealing. It's very delicious too.
Mhm.
So that definitely helped. Yeah, put matcha kind of front of mind for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are also waking up to the fact that caffeine in coffee may not agree with them so well, and they're looking at an alternative. And the great thing, matcha does have caffeine, but it's a very nice slow release, so it doesn't affect your adrenals so much, and it doesn't cause havoc on your hormones, particularly as women. And a lot of young people are getting into it, particularly girls. And I think that's really exciting because they will shift their preference from drinking coffee to matcha, and that will serve them well for the future. And
Mm.
um, if you are suffering prone to anxiety or coming into exam period, coffee's probably or energy drinks probably the worst thing to do. But matcha could be a really great option there. Yeah.
Mm. I just, when you just said the slow release caffeine, I'm going to have to tell my sons about this too, because, when they're racing in the
Mm.
pool, you know, a bit of caffeine is good, but it's not good
Yeah.
if you then like die halfway through the race.
Yeah, like it just, yeah, the caffeine in coffee is like this and then this, but
Yeah,
matcha is like this. It's so
yeah.
steady. And that's thanks to a property in green tea. It's also in normal green tea called theanine or theanine, and it's a relaxant property, and it helps your brain waves, like the alpha waves, feel relaxed and you concentrate and are more productive. And
Wow.
that works in conjunction with caffeine. So
Mhm.
that's why people sometimes say it's like a zen-like energy, because it's calm yet it's energy. It seems like a contradiction, but they do work together.
I
Yeah.
imagine that would be really good when you're as an entrepreneur and you really just need to get into that flow state because you have to be super focused and productive, but you also can't be tired.
Exactly. I actually don't know how I would have run my business without drinking matcha
No, no,
and
it's
running it, like having another job and this and
so
being a mom, and yeah, I just don't know.
so funny. Now, obviously, over the last year, matcha has become pretty trendy, as you've just been talking about. And there's like there's two sides to that coin where obviously that presents a great commercial opportunity, but it also increases your competition. And so, talk about how you've really managed to position Matcha You to cut through in that
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah, it's tricky because I had a good run. I think, say, 12 months ago, I was ranking 3 or 4 on Google organic for matcha. I don't ever want to negotiate, like compromise on quality, and it always has to taste fantastic. I will pay more money per kilo because I have to have the best. I don't I'm not like super price sensitive to, yeah, because of what's happened and the increase in pricing. Yeah, of course, like it does affect the lower like say my everyday matcha. That's a bit challenging because you want to keep it economical for people. But if it's not, if it doesn't taste good, it's not going to be imported by me. So I just have to always go with the taste, my own personal, like I get the samples, I taste them. If they don't cut it for me, they're not going to be something I sell. So that's the one thing I don't compromise on. And then I've got like, I guess, 8 years of experience of like sourcing, running the brand before that boom.
Mm,
So I've done a lot of education about matcha, and now I realize like people want more deeper connection and information about matcha. So that's where I have to challenge myself and really lift my game on giving the people what they want. But
mm,
also, yeah, just I guess my core values are like authenticity, trust, and I never take the customer loyalty and trust they put in me lightly. And I'm always, thinking, yeah, just wanting to keep all the customers satisfied and happy so they keep coming back.
Mm,
But yeah, I think it's just like staying in your lane and being true to your USP. Like I know I have a very strong point of difference because I have such a strong connection to Japan, and like speaking the language and everything. And I know not all brands have that. So I really try and lean in on that, and that's easy for me to do because I just love Japan. And
mm.
I hope that comes through. And I just, even though I'm a white girl selling Japanese tea, I do think I have a deep appreciation of that culture, and I don't think anyone could challenge me on that, you know?
No, no. I think something that I've observed too, working with you and knowing you for some time, is that you really do know the product and the culture very deeply, and you're quite passionate about educating and sharing that knowledge. And that is not something that, you know, younger startup brands who are just jumping on a fad can or would do. You know, like they're a little bit more rah-rah superficial in terms of their content, which is fine, but it's not your gig. And so
Yeah.
that to me has really stood you apart through this increased competition.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. It's definitely, yeah, wanting to do the culture justice and give it due respect, and also, yeah, respect the hard work and effort. Every time I go and visit Japan and I go through the whole process of being in the tea fields and being in the product in the factory and seeing all the different machinery that the tea goes through, the air, the steaming, the air drying, the firing, and then getting into the machines to mill the matcha. I thought I'm just in awe of all the effort to get to like what we drink in our cup. It's
Yeah.
so like we're so lucky to be able to experience a product that's had such tradition, care, and like hundreds of years of kind of skill
Mm.
to result in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, very grateful.
Let's talk a bit about understanding your customer, which is, you know, of course, something that at Productpreneur we're really super focused on. And, you know, Matcha Yu is a premium brand. And so really getting to know your specific customer and not trying to sell to, you know, everyone who just wants to jump on the matcha bandwagon because they see a strawberry matcha TikTok or something like that.
Yeah.
So how important has that been for you, really diving into your ideal customer?
Yeah, so important. I mean, yeah, I get it. There's other brands that are out there cheaper than us, and some people might shop around based on that price. But ultimately, the thing with matcha is I think a lot of people unfortunately have been disappointed when purchasing matcha, opening the pouch. You can't try before you buy, of course, unless you're like drinking it in a cafe. Um, so there's a lot of like deflation and disappointment in something they've given a go, and then the whole thing is like I just want people to be able to get it month in month out and just love the quality and the taste, and not even have peace of mind that there's not even going to be a problem when they open it, and they'll be actually impressed with the quality and surprised, even it's even better than what they imagined. That's often the feedback I get. It's like, oh wow, like this is even better than what I'd expect for this price point. So it's just about, yeah, giving people much of that they will never feel disappointed with, and like waste of time, money, effort, shopping around trying to find something, and then be yeah, unfortunately disappointed. And a lot of part of that as well is refrigeration of tea. A lot of brands don't do that. That it sits on a shelf and it oxidizes, and that with
Mm.
matcha is a massive problem because I learned recently up to 40% of the antioxidants and the benefits in matcha are reduced by oxidation.
Wow.
So, yeah, all that good stuff, it does get affected if you don't have tea that's kind of stored properly. So yeah, that's kind of a bit of a point of difference too. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah, I hope that answers that.
So, when I mean, obviously we work a lot together on your marketing and advertising and, really building the brand and scaling, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, how do you bring that knowledge of your customer and how they make purchase decisions into your marketing? If you can share a little bit about what you do there.
Yeah, I think I just try and focus on the passion that I have for Japan and like matcha. I hope that comes through in everything I do because I think then customers can see that they can trust me and they're safe with me and their decision is um yeah, just something that they can see authenticity shining through. And so like what you see is what you get. This is me. I'm a pretty heart-led passionate business and I really deeply care about people drinking good matcha and also benefiting and having a transformation like I have and I've been drinking it for like over a decade and all the great things it's done for me. So I really want other people to feel that too. Um, so yeah, I just think in like marketing, I do focus on Japan a lot because I want to bring people along for that journey and that story, and so they can form a closer connection to the roots of matcha and where it's evolved from. And it's more than just a drink. They're kind of taking in that culture. And yes, a few years back, I think you coined the phrase "the taste of Japan in a cup." So I have you to thank for that. I'm fairly sure that's true.
Yeah, I reckon
And,
that might have been early days.
yeah, and I think that phrase speaks to like exactly what I want to convey. Like it
Yeah,
really does encapsulate it.
yeah.
Um, I taste Japan like I do, like I drink it, and even though I'm here in Australia, I just feel like I've got this connection to Japan, and it's by aroma. Like scent is so powerful. You can open a bag of matcha, and you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm back in like Kyoto or something. Yeah.
Those sorts of senses are really like taste and smell and touch. You can't do any of that online. And so something that you
So,
become really good at is demonstrating that in your content. You know, again, like you're trying to convey that in your videos, for example.
yeah.
You still can't touch it and taste it and smell it and all of that, but they can see your reactions and also the other
Yeah,
people who you feature in your videos. You've got some uh, bit of variety there, so you get people's reactions and all
yeah,
that stuff. Yeah. So I
yeah. That's true.
definitely think that helps.
For sure. Yeah, and there's a video I filmed a few years ago, and I was sitting making matcha at the tea fields in Kagoshima, and it just all kind of hit when I was drinking it or making it and drinking it. It just all hit home. Like I really had a almost a spiritual moment there, and I remember kind of saying to my to the tea farmers like this drinking this matcha here where it's grown. I'm just like really moved by this because yeah, it's all come together, and I just felt so grateful to be sitting there drinking the tea that they'd put so much effort into. So I think when I watch that video, I can see my like really like I'm in awe and I'm really humbled by the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, on this show in recent weeks and months, like we've been talking a bit more about premium brands, and we had Dr. Ross Honeywill on the show a few weeks back. And, what he talks about is the absolute necessity for that emotional connection all the way through your marketing, not just at the point of brand discovery. And that's exactly what you're conveying. People do have that kind of emotional connection when they interact with any of your content, really.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so because like yeah, everything about Japan I feel is so moving and beautiful and
Yeah.
there's a lot to and I'm sure many people out there have been to Japan. If you get it. Like it gets under your skin and you come back and you just want to do anything to feel that again. So yeah, I feel like I want to try and bring that to people wherever they are, and mindfulness and just really appreciating beauty and yeah,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, so gorgeous. Um, I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit.
Yeah,
Obviously, we've
sure.
spoken a little bit about the global shortage of matcha, um, which no one in your position has any control about. Has there been a moment, I mean, not just with this scenario, but throughout the time that you've been in business, have you ever had that kind of moment where you thought, oh, this might not work? Um, and if you did, I'm sure, like, how human is that experience? I think we all have moments like that, but share a bit about what might have happened and how you push through.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Like mindset and resilience just builds years on years, it does get stronger in the first few years. I'd always get to about the end of the year and then I probably just burn out and I just feel like not seeing like the return um because yeah, much of was still building and also like juggling the other job and having a child and everything. I was often like saying to my best friend, who's a business owner too, I just don't think I can do this anymore. Like it's a lot of work for the and I'm putting every hour into it, and
Yeah.
you just get tired. And then I have a lot to say thanks to her for because she taught me around each time. She said, "Erin, you've worked so hard. You can't give this up now. Um, just stick it out. Just take a rest. Have a rest." Like that was the important message, you know. And thank God I didn't. Like I would be kicking myself, not just because it's gone crazy, but I would have felt disappointed in myself. So yeah, mindset and resilience. Now I think tackling these global shortages and things, if this was me a few years ago into my brand, yeah, it could have done me in, and I might have struggled and wanted to, end the business. But now I just see everything is figure outable. Like you can't, there's always something within your control. And if there's not, you have to relinquish control and accept. But even though I feel like the future is a little bit quite uncertain right now with matcha and supply, at least it's a product that that it is available every year. It comes if we're looking at that May harvest, May comes every year, and there'll be more matcha next year, and there might be a time where we're out of stock of matcha. Touch wood, no, hopefully not, but yeah, it's not like that's it, like forever.
Right.
The every year is different and a new kind of a fresh start.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try not to think too far ahead with it and worry myself about things that may not have even, occur. But having said that, I do need to look at like risk mitigation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's a tricky one because as the more you invest into a business, the more you think, well, I do need that product to make everything happen.
absolutely. Yeah. And I know that you've got things in the pipeline to assist with that, which we won't reveal just yet.
That's all right. Yeah.
Um, so in you and I work a lot on the digital marketing and the visibility and all of that kind of stuff. This past year, on top of what's happening in your industry, has also seen a massive shift in the marketing and the online space with AI. And, now we're sort of looking at this whole search everywhere type phenomenon and AI generated everything. So, in your experience and what you're doing with Matcha Yu, what would be maybe some of the shifts or aha moments that you've had?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to try to be everywhere all at once, definitely, but I give it a crack. I give it a crack. I'm I'm trying to be pretty active on, yeah, at least Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, uh, and because I know, and YouTube too. A lot of people using that for search engines. So SEO, as I mentioned earlier, it's a tricky one because of the increased competition, but I still do what I can, working on, tweaking the website optimization, get the conversion rates up. Always, like one thing I've really recently I've been trying to double down on email marketing because I think I'm leaving, opportunity on the table, their money on the tables, because of inconsistent kind of message, regular emails going out to people. And I think we all work so hard at getting a customer into our ecosystem, and then sometimes we honestly we neglect them because we're always chasing the new, growing the list, the new customers, running our ads to get those new customers. But those people that have given you their data and they're on your list, they're the people you should be giving the most attention to. And that's something I'm probably guilty of, not forgetting them, but also not giving enough communication to the people that are really there. And some of them been there since the beginning. So
Mm.
yeah, I think that's definitely don't my messaging is yeah, don't forget your existing customer base in pursuit of chasing more. Yeah, because
Yeah.
as I've learned from you, Kath, like it's so much easier to have a solid return on investment and customer lifetime value than looking at like customer acquisition first time round. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I reckon. I mean, considering how long you were juggling business and job and young child as well, that's probably a legacy of just having to do as much as you could, but not necessarily everything for that period of time. But yeah, you're right. Like
True.
tapping into that database and really trying to maximize that, especially now with ad costs and things like that have increased.
Yeah.
You have to in order to grow a profitable business. So.
Definitely, yeah. And one thing I learned from you and like the coaching is I don't think I knew what marketing efficiency ratio meant. I remember asking, what is MER on this report? What is MER? And then when it explained that it's basically looking at a holistic approach, looking at all your marketing efforts and seeing, and you can, it's quite measured and you have like calculations that can help you see that. And I think that's great to see like across the board. Like you could be getting a good return on investment on your meta ads, but then it could be leaking out of that bucket, in some other part of the business. So to get an overall idea of your entire marketing efforts and how you sit, that's really groundbreaking, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm really pleased to hear you say
Yeah,
that.
it is. I know. It probably took a lot of work to figure all those like calculations and spreadsheets out, but it's
You know
so
me, I
important.
love a good tool and I love a good
I
system.
know.
Don't
But I
like having to
imagine
figure the same problem out multiple times.
But I would say that so many businesses don't look at marketing efficiency ratio. They look at probably everything in silo, like ROAS on individual channels, but not the whole, thing together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get why, because obviously everyone wants to make sure that their ad spend is generating a return. But the difficulty, of course, is that none of these channels talk to each other anymore. They have their data moats and they're not going to share across
Yeah.
platforms. So
Yeah.
it's very annoying. Um,
Exactly.
at some point in recent times, you also added wholesale to your
Yes.
business and you are supplying cafes and things like that. And how did that come about? I know you've been supplying a particular Japanese cafe, but obviously you're broader than that now. A
Yeah.
bit about that expansion.
Yeah, so I think for wholesale, it was always a little bit tr challenging for me. One, because of time restrictions on my time of how much I could spend on that, pursuing leads and following up, and
Mm.
but two, to wholesale a premium price product is challenging just that alone because you're trying to make margin, the cafe is trying to make margin, and back when I was probably starting to try wholesale more, the pricing was just cafes were probably not familiar with having to pay that for matcha. So
Mm.
they're always like looking at other pricing and even if it's a poorer quality, they often go with price because they have to make their margin. So I understand that. But now because of all the price increases, and as I mentioned earlier, the quality of matcha in cafes has largely lifted. I think people now have more appreciation of the product and the quality, and they're willing to pay the price. So that has helped, having that understanding now. But the main thing is instead of like contacting people manually, I've managed to jump on a platform called Automentum, and a lot of cafes nationally use it. And so if they're searching matcha, I will come up in a search result. So it's great because it's centralized. Cafes already use it for all other types of produce. So it's one-stop shop for them. And I've found, yeah, there's a lot of new customers coming from that platform daily.
Mm.
And I've actually had to introduce kind of an exclusive matcha just for wholesale to get to that sweet spot of a price that would be more digestible. Because if
Mm.
I was trying to sell my D2C matcha, the businesses would kind of balk at that pricing, I think. So, yeah,
Mm.
I've just had to try and like change that strategy a bit, but that's been so far so good and great that I've got some new business, and we hope that we can keep that supply going
Yeah,
for them.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've never
yeah.
asked you this question, but if I walked into a cafe that serves matcha, would I know that it's Matcha Yu tea?
No, see, that's the thing as well. Like a lot of matcha is just sold to cafes and it's unbranded. Well, I mean, they know what they're buying, the cafe,
Yeah.
but they're not going to tell their customers.
Mm.
However, I have seen a few cafes that do list the matcha company, the brand, which I think is quite nice. The good thing about the Japanese cafe you mentioned was like they have a pantry next door and they sell my matcha in there. So that's a very easy, you've had the matcha in the cafe and you can go and buy it or get takeaway. So but yeah, most cafes don't list their matcha owners. But I think that would be great because I think what should be happening now is a bit more storytelling around the product and like regions
Yeah.
and
Like you see with
just some
wine
more.
and coffee, I mean, people
That's
expect
right.
that in a cafe or a restaurant, for sure.
Yeah, pop it on a menu and also educate the staff so people
Mm.
can, answer questions from customers. So I think that's probably the next stage. So yeah, hopefully I can get some cafes that would like to, put my name on it and we can work a bit more closely together and do
Yeah.
events and things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which you already do a little bit. Actually, that's one of your fun marketing and strategies that you do from time to time. Let's just quickly mention that because that is such a cool idea.
Yeah, you mean the markets or
Oh, well, yes, you do those. No, I was thinking about, when you've done something in store in the cafe before, but you've also got a collaboration with your hairdresser coming up, which sounds very
that's
out there
right.
and weird, but it's just different ways to introduce people to matcha, but also to Matcha
That's
You.
right. Yeah, I've done a few pop-ups. So I did a pop-up at a business like workshop recently, just free matcha for the first attendees. And then, yeah, this coming weekend, I'm doing a matcha hair pet party in Queensland. So I'll prepare matcha and do a little ceremony. And then the people coming along will experience like a nice hair treatment and pamper. So it's just thinking outside the box. And yeah, the opportunities are endless. There's fashion brands that have approached me that want to do pop-ups and yoga, Pilates studios, you name it, because it's something I even saw like July Luggage had free matcha giveaway or, because it's such a trendy product. That's what marketing people are jumping on now, and they look at it as like, oh yeah, we can do activations with free matcha and put our label on it, and so yeah, well, that's exciting. The options are endless.
Yeah, I love it. And definitely thinking outside the square is what everyone needs to be doing. And aside from anything else, you'll get some great content that you can also put into your social media platform.
Right. And that's it. And there's nothing quite like people being able to try and taste, yeah, in person and meet you. Like that's the great thing about the markets I've been doing, like big design, finders keepers. I mean, a lot of the businesses that are there, you're talking to the founders, like they're there behind the stall, and people love that. And also it gives a product like a chance, a product like mine, a chance for people to try, and that's a massive barrier. Even if they don't buy it on the day, it's in their memory bank for when they need matcha, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So obviously you've grown your business significantly over the last year in particular, but it's been a few years of really solid growth. What's coming up? What's next for Matcha You if you're looking ahead that you would
Oh,
like to share?
so yeah, yeah. Well, I actually just this week just looked at like a warehouse slash office space for next to move into early next year because I do operate out of home, would you believe? But it's getting a
I don't
little
know
bit
how you've managed to keep it going from you've been surrounded.
I am. I've literally been boxed in
Yeah.
with stock and and lots of fridges of full of tea but yeah, that's very exciting. Looking at moving everything off site and then I can bring in person to like help with pick and packing because that's a bit of a bottleneck, being the me myself and I team. So
Mm.
I'm looking forward to that early next year, hopefully. And then I've just made a very large investment on my own electric milling machine, which I will hopefully have early next year. So I'll be able to offer Australian freshly milled matcha, which
Mm.
is really
Incredible.
exciting
Mm.
because a lot of people, even myself, you don't get that chance to try matcha that's just been milled.
Mm.
Most of the time, it's at least minimum in transit from like Australia, Japan to Australia, 5 days or something, so it's one way of just trying to future-proof the business a bit because of the shortages. I mean, yes, I still essentially need the raw product, the tea leaves, but there is a bit of a bottleneck in the supply chain where milling takes a long time. Milling
Mm.
is like, and there's only so many machines. And so the order timelines are blowing out quite a bit.
Mm.
So I just figure if I can't get matcha through the traditional way, maybe importing the tencha, the tea leaves, and finding suppliers for that will enable to bring that control a bit back to me and I can use this machine. So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I bet. You'll be kind of back into your team master, learning and trying and testing and getting creative and all of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, you
Mm.
can do tea blends and yeah, there's a lot of there's going to be a bit of a community. I'm part of like a beta program globally, so there's going to be 15 people that own these machines, and we're all going to be going through this journey together
Mm.
before it's kind of open to the wider market. So there'll be a lot of learning, and yeah, I'm very excited about what's next there. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I wasn't sure whether you wanted to divulge that.
Oh, that's all right. No, no, no. Yes. So it'll be, yeah, I'll have that early next year. So more details to come. Follow us on socials to see the
Exactly.
journey.
Second to last question. For any listeners of the show who are working to build a premium brand, or they might be dealing with a really competitive marketplace, or both combined, like you are, would you have a piece of advice that you could share that we haven't already discussed?
Yeah, I just think stay true to your values, like be anchored in that and be really rock solid. Like you have to have a deep belief in what you're doing to continue forward when you face adversity, I believe. So even when growth is slow, like you've got to think you're running a marathon, not a sprint. Like the most businesses it's very rare to have an overnight success business. Like it's often like overnight success, but yeah, you've been doing it for 10 years,
10 years. Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, and like what people say, like, in the first, what is it, 3 to 5 years, a lot of people give it up because you often run at a loss. You run at a loss. And yes, I ran my business with another job, but that allowed me to have like growth and I could put energy into it without having a financial kind of pressure on me because I had another
You
job. So
didn't,
that
you
that
didn't
was
have to take
in a
away.
way it's hard.
Mm.
It's hard to juggle it, but it's actually it does give you that freedom and space to grow it without feeling, oh, I've got to pay my bills with this.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's tempting to like chase trends and discount and all of that. But I think the true connection with your audience comes from like consistency, authenticity, and always think about your why. Like why are you doing this? And this is why people believe in your brand. They don't just buy from you, they actually believe, and they really resonate with your story. So yeah, I mean, it becomes like when you're the, entrepreneur that runs the business, the business almost, it's an extension of you. So yeah, you just got to really think, what do you find important, and also, yeah, never kind of waver on those things. Like sustainability is a big one for me too. And that has to come through in my business because that's who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so true. I think that's a really important thing to mention, and I'm glad that you brought that up about all of your values and how you bring that together in the business because from where I sit, and I work with lots of brand owners, and the ones where they're trying to just do what they think they should do because they see other brands doing it or because they are following some trends with the marketing or whatever, they're just not able to bring the same kind of energy to their
Mm,
efforts, and it just doesn't end up being as effective. Whereas when people are
yeah.
really, passionate about it, they're very values driven, they have a very clear vision for themselves that, you know, I know there's not like a hard and fast scientific way to prove this, but the energy is very different in the output
Yes.
and it's so much more effective. So
Yeah, it's so genuine. Like, yeah, you do look at people's videos on socials and things, and you just think, yeah, they do really care about it, and they're not just like dialing it in because they have to. But
yeah,
people do. People ride trends, and yeah, it's sure to do the trends and whatever for growth. But at the end of the day, nothing kind of beats just being quite raw and open and like, talking to your audience, honestly. And sometimes you think, oh, should I really be sharing all this? Like, particularly with all the matcha shortage kind of hurdles at the moment, like how much do I share? I don't want to like people to lose trust, but I
yeah.
actually think you gain trust by being honest. And yes, you don't have to tell them everything, but giving them a bit of an idea of what you're going through. I mean, people can understand that. Like, it's just, yeah, I think it's better to be open. I think that's my policy with it. Yeah,
People along for the journey with you.
totally. Yeah.
So we are going to share links to all of your socials and website, but give yourself a shout out here. And if there's anything in particular that you would like to draw people's attention to when they visit your website or connect on socials, do
Sure.
that here too.
So yeah, our website's just www.matchayutea.com. Yu actually means hot water in Japanese. So you need matcha and hot water to make matcha.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't know that.
yeah, and then we're on Instagram, the same handle, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Yeah, if you have a look at our website at the moment, we've got a little banner up for our Green Friday VIP sign up. So that's coming up, and didn't touch on that much, but yeah, Black Friday's always sat a bit strangely with me because of like mass consumerism, and I actually didn't. The business didn't participate in it for a few years. And then I came around to look, it's a good way of giving back to people and kind of sharing a message of shopping sustainably, only buying what you need, and being mindful about it. So I've made it Green Friday, and that's the sustainability shout out. But I only realized last year
Also, the
as well,
color of
it's matcha.
matcha.
So it worked very nicely.
Yeah.
And I think it sits better for me to offer it like that. So yeah, Green Friday's coming up. So if you'd like to be, notified about our offers, there's a sign up on the website. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. I love it. Thank you so much for jumping on and having this conversation with me today and being so generous to share all of your experience and knowledge and passion for what you do. I'm sure it's going to be an inspiration for all the listeners.
I hope so. Thanks so much, Kath.